What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JT Sports Podcast. I'm your host, JT, and I am very disgusted at what I just saw. And if you are an OG subscriber of the podcast, you guys already know why I'm about to go off. And if you're new or you haven't been around here that long, the number one thing that irritates me more than anything watching the NFL is seeing a game end in a tie. No game, no sport should ever let two teams walk off the field without a winner and a loser being declared. What's the point of having overtime just to allow it to end in a tie? What's even the point of it? You might as well have just called the game a tie at the end of regulation. If that's the case, calling ties in the NFL is one of the pussiest things in all of sports. Somebody needs to walk off that game, walk off that field with the win, and somebody needs to walk off the field with that L, man. We can't be having ties in the National Football League. This is the equivalent to a participation trophy. The Green Bay Packers got so fortunate that they had 1 second left to have an opportunity to win this game, and instead they go for the tie. What do ties do for you in the NFL? Nothing. This is the National Football League. It's not horseshoe. The NFL has the worst overtime rules in all of sports. The NFL needs to adopt college football's overtime strategy. That's why college football is better than the NFL, because they never let a game end in a tie. No matter what, no matter if the game drags on 6, 7, 8, 10 hours long, you're not walking out of that game unless there's a winner and a loser. Did you see Georgia versus Georgia Tech last year? If not, go ahead and check that out. If you don't watch college football, look up Georgia versus Georgia Tech 2024 highlights. They went into 9 overtimes to decide who was going to be the winner. That's what overtime should be in the NFL. Both teams get possession on the ball, and nobody walks out of that stadium until we get a winner. Absolutely disgusting, the atrocity that we just saw, and what was a fantastic game. You should never let a game this good, like what we got between the Cowboys and the Packers, ever end in a tie. Change the overtime rules, NFL. We need the college football overtime rules in the NFL. Now, I can't end this without giving Dak Prescott his props. Listen, Dak Prescott is the front runner for MVP. MVP stands for the most valuable player. If you watch the Cowboys, they have no defense. They were without their best receiver, and Dak Prescott was still making plays, keeping the Cowboys in the game, giving them an opportunity to walk away with the W. Dak Prescott should be the number one leading candidate for MVP right now. You take him off the Cowboys, this is the worst team in the NFL. Dak Prescott, for the first time ever, has actually played up to the amount of money that he's getting paid. He's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and this is one of the few seasons where Dak Prescott has actually looked like an elite quarterback. I mean, the dude is carrying the Dallas Cowboys on his back. Literally, he's running more this season than what he has had in the last 6, 7 years of his career. This dude's putting it all on the line for America's team. You got to give Dak Prescott his fair due, man. Listen, I'm not a big Dak Prescott fan. I'm one of the biggest Dak Prescott haters and critics that you will find, but my homie already hit me up, and he said, Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback, JT. Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback right now. I'm not willing to go that far, but I will say that Dak Prescott right now is my early season MVP. The most valuable player is the dude who is the most responsible for the team's success. And if you take Dak Prescott off of the Cowboys, this team wouldn't have a single win, and they will lose every game by at least 14 points or more. the Green Bay Packers, this was a major letdown for them. They should have won this game. They had the early momentum. They started out the gates fast, and then they allowed the Cowboys to get back into it when they got the block PAT, which put 2 points on the board for them. And all of a sudden, Dak Prescott and George Pickens, they get hot. Javonte Williams in the run game. The Cowboys get that going. And the Cowboys end up scoring on 6 out of their last 7 possessions of this game. And if they just had just somewhat of a defense, this is probably a one-loss team right now. I've been very impressed with how this offense has looked with Brian Schottenheimer calling the plays. The Brian Schottenheimer hiring was very scrutinized by a lot of non-Cowboy fans, and even Cowboy fans still felt a certain kind of way about Brian Schottenheimer being fired or being hired, since he doesn't really have any head coaching experience at all. He wasn't really a hot head coaching candidate either. So there's a lot of skepticism around Brian Schottenheimer's coaching abilities, but so far I feel he's done a pretty good job. Haven't seen bad clock management. The play calling is pretty good. The defense is the only big issue that Brian Schottenheimer has to clean up. I thought Matt Eberflus would have been a good addition to the Cowboys coaching staff. I thought he was a good defensive coordinator. I know he flamed out as a head coach in Chicago, but his defenses were always pretty solid. I don't know what happened to Matt Eberflus. Did he just forget how to be a good defensive coordinator? I don't know, but the Cowboys defense sucks. That's a high school defense. And I don't know how many games Dak Prescott can will the Cowboys to wins in when he has to put up 40 points in them nearly every contest. It's kind of like the situation that the Cincinnati Bengals were in last year. No defense. You had to put up 40 points or more to win. It looks like it's going to be one of those seasons for Dak Prescott where he's going to have MVP numbers. He's going to be in an MVP conversation as long as he can keep the Cowboys season afloat. As long as he can keep them around 500, barely above 500, and they're in the playoff discussion, then I think he definitely will get some legitimate MVP consideration. But the Packers just had so many missed opportunities in this game that they failed to capitalize off. And for as good as what Jeff Hafley has been as the Packers DC, I was not expecting for this unit to get wired up the way that they did by Dallas. Michael Parsons didn't really hear his name that much until he got that game-saving tackle on Dak Prescott. Well, I don't know if I'll call it a game-saving tackle exactly, because, I mean, like, okay, the Cowboys, they didn't win it, so I guess you can say the game-tying tackle, essentially. It's disgusting that this game ended in a tie. I really can't get over that. That really has me thrilled. But leave your thoughts on this game. If you're listening to this on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. If you live, eat, breathe, and sleep football, we're talking the NFL, college football, all things football, 24/7, 365 days throughout the year. Check us out wherever you get your podcast from. Apple, Spotify, JT Sports is available. Links are down in description and pinned comment below. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys shortly with another episode.